don't cross my T's. I don't dot my I's. I won't say pretty please, or speaking little white lies. I've got a rebel soul. 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 Oh, just get down with it, down with it, down with it. Just get down. I ain't no thing that you can chain with a ring. And I ain't no vice for admiring eyes. I've got a rebel soul. 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 Just get down with it, down with it, down with it. Just get down. I can be good when I wanna.
Oh, there we go. My picture looked weird there for a minute. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and happy birthday, Miss Linda. It was yesterday. We're a day late, so we do apologize, but I hope you had a good one. We got some people in here from the UK. Awesome. Hi, Allison. South Australia. I know we've got some South Africa people too. Well, it's so good to have everybody here this morning. Yes, Mark. Wait, who said he had a problem? Oh, John. John. Bless your heart. Well, welcome, hon. You're among good people. What's the word I'm looking for, you guys? We all feel your pain. And Bob Kitten says the first step is admitting it. I love that. Y'all ready to hee and kiki? All right, we got three witnesses today. The first one is the Chief Battalion in Waukesha. The second one is a woman who was in the parade who was hit. I think she was with Remax. And then the third one is the band director. So let's get to it. I think they just called him to the stand. I was trying to catch. There was some talk before they called him in.
Did you say you thought Lopez was from 1995?
Normal stuff, but
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat.
it wasn't relevant.
When you are seated,
I'll do
please
that in
state
another video.
your first and last names for the record and spell each.
Jim Hockinson, JimHaakenson.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. How are you employed?
I'm employed as a battalion chief shift commander for the city of Waukesha Fire Department.
How long have you held that position?
I've been a battalion chief for 6 years.
How long in total have you worked for the Waukesha Fire Department?
22 years.
Did you have any other type of fire or emergency work before you worked for WFD?
I did. I worked for the city of Pewaukee. I believe I started in 1996.
What kind of things are you responsible for as a battalion chief?
As a battalion chief, I manage the day-to-day operations of an entire shift of firefighters, lieutenants, company officers, those kinds of things.
Could you describe for us in general terms how the Waukesha Fire Department is organized?
Yes, the fire department is organized into 3 separate shifts. These shifts are divided into 5 stations. The stations are strategically located throughout the city to provide response to any area of the city in a very timely fashion. The minimum staffing, meaning the minimum number of people on duty every day, is 26 personnel.
Which of the 5 stations is closest to the downtown Waukesha area?
That would be Station 1.
Okay. Can you describe for us the resources that are available at each of the 5 stations?
There are 5 ambulances and either 3 engines and 2 ladder trucks. So at each station there is a heavy piece of apparatus, an engine or a truck, and an ambulance.
Were you on duty working as a battalion chief on Sunday, November 21st of 2021?
I was.
Were you aware that the Waukesha Christmas Parade was going to be taking place that day?
I was.
In your capacity as a battalion chief for the fire department, were you aware of any preparations that had been underway with your department, knowing that that event was going on?
Yes, we had a unit that participated in the parade. We also received an incident action plan from the police department relative to the parade operations.
Your Honor, Exhibit 1 is a map that's previously been admitted and published. I'd ask to publish that again for everybody.
Permission granted.
Mr. Hockinson, if you'll direct your attention to the screen in front of you, this is Exhibit 1. Do you recognize this exhibit?
I do.
Are you able to point out for us on this map where Station 1 would be, or is it not on the map?
It is not marked on the map. However, it is at the intersection of Fuller Street and St. Paul Avenue.
Could you, it's a touch screen in front of you, could you just draw a little X where the map, where Station 1 would be if the map were a little bigger?
It would be right there.
Oh, I see. Okay. And you've used a yellow arrow to designate that.
Yeah, so it appears.
Gotcha. Were you at Station 1 that day?
I was.
Okay. At what point did your department first respond to a parade-related call for service on the afternoon of November 21st?
We received an alert at approximately 16:39. That's 4:39 p.m.
What was the nature of that alert?
Initially, it was an unknown problem, but given radio traffic that we had heard, we assumed it to be a vehicle versus pedestrian.
Okay, I know this is off topic, but ladies, what is it about firemen and them always looking so hot?
Okay. And what did your department resources do in response to getting that alert?
Everyone immediately assembled and began the response that was dispatched.
Everyone from?
Station 1 at that time.
Okay. And what happened next?
En route, we began to hear additional radio traffic to numerous reports of other people being struck. At that point, the dispatcher asked if I would like to upgrade the alarm, which I did, bringing all 5 stations immediately to the area.
Okay.
The
And
uniform?
let me back up for a minute. Before getting a call about pedestrian vehicle, did your department respond to any other calls for service within the minutes before that call?
Not that I recall. We prepared to respond based on radio traffic we had heard referencing a call in Frame Park.
Okay, and what was the nature of that call in Frame Park?
On the police dispatch, it sounded as though there was some sort of incident with a man and a knife.
Okay, and what did your department do in response to receiving that dispatch?
We began
Thanks,
to move
Mark.
towards the apparatus because we knew that Station 1 would be responding to that.
And did anybody
Ian.
from your department get to that call in time?
No, we were never dispatched to it. By the time we got out to the apparatus bay and to the rigs, we could start hearing the radio traffic regarding the vehicles and the pedestrians, and that was occurring on Main Street downtown.
Okay. Now we'll fast forward again to the point where we left off, where you said you had upgraded the call to all 5 stations, right?
That's correct.
What happened next?
We began our response. Getting to the scene was a bit difficult due to the large crowd of personnel fleeing downtown. Our response route took us right up Barstow to Main Street, and
No one called in sick that day, huh, Allison?
we turned right on the main, and that's when we arrived.
At some point, did you or your department become aware that it was going to require more than just your department's resources to respond to this?
Absolutely. As we began to hear more and more reports coming in from officers on scene, we began to realize the scope of this was exceeding our response capabilities. And at that time, I upgraded the alarm to a MABUS box alarm for life safety.
Can you explain for the jury what a MABUS box alarm is?
Right. MABUS is a system called the Mutual Aid Box Alarm System. And in this system, it is structured so that a pre-designated type and amount of resources come at each level. So for example, this box alarm brought an additional 4 ambulances, an engine, a squad, and 3 chiefs, in addition to all the other resources that were coming.
Who sees a lot of questions coming about this box alarm? Who foresees it?
And is that where the scope of the response stopped?
Absolutely not. As we got on scene and began to triage patients, determining their level of acuity, and certainly over the almost half mile of the parade route where we found them, we realized quickly that this was going to require additional resources, and we upgraded to the second alarm level. I believe it was 4:52 in the afternoon.
Okay. And what resources came with that second box level?
That would be another 4 ambulances, another 3 chiefs, and another fire engine.
Do you recall what municipalities or other partners that you work with were part of that response?
I would do them a disservice and leave them out for sure. There was a total of 15 municipalities that responded, I believe 23 units in totality.
Yes, this is a BA meeting and Brooksaholics Anonymous, and you are getting your fix.
The Waukesha Christmas Parade, that's an annual event, is that right?
That's correct.
And have you been the shift commander or battalion chief on duty for that event before 2021?
Yes.
Overruled. He may answer. I believe he answered yes. His answer may stand. Just as a reminder, if there's an objection, wait till I rule. Thank you.
Based on your experience in that position, in terms of public attendance, so the number of people attending the event, where does the annual Waukesha Christmas Parade rank on the large public events that are held downtown each year?
It certainly is one of the largest attended, if not the largest. 4th of July is also very well attended as far as parades go.
Your department and the partners that responded in response to your box alarm procedure, you didn't transport every single victim or person who was struck in the parade incident, is that right?
Objection irrelevant.
Overruled.
That is correct. We did not transport every person. We transported a total of 24 patients.
Do you know how any other people were transported away from the scene?
I believe
Hearsay.
Overruled. He may answer.
there were approximately 49 additional patients transported.
What time did your last ambulance leave the downtown area?
The last patient was transported by ambulance from the scene at approximately 17:35, 5:35 p.m.
I believe that's all the questions I have for this witness.
All right. Do you have any cross-exam?
I do. Did you?
It's the prosecution's witness. Oh shit! I just put backwards. It's the prosecution's witness. However, Brooks is gonna. They took 10 minutes to question him, and Brooks is probably gonna take 20 now. Hang on. Here we go.
Or battalion chief on duty for that event?
Sorry,
before
I skipped the
2021?
video when I
Yes.
did that.
Irrelevant.
Overruled. He may answer.
Does is Dan Rulo a firefighter on ambulance 51?
Dan Rulo is a member of the department. I do not recall if he was working that day or if he was assigned to ambulance 51 that day.
Do you recall being notified? And I know it's kind of the same question, but it's phrased different in what I'm reading, so I just want to clarify it. Were you notified of a possible stabbing?
Again, the radio traffic I received was an incident possibly involving a knife.
Could you clarify what a hot wash is?
A hot wash is a term used to discuss events immediately after they happen. It's typically done after incidents of significance to gather as much information as possible immediately after and to see how everybody's doing.
Did you respond to the parade route yourself?
I responded to the incident on the parade route. That is correct.
Very well said, Donna. We agree.
When you arrived to the scene, was there still any immediate danger that you recall?
No, you were gone already.
It was difficult to gauge if there was any immediate danger. Radio traffic on the police side indicated that there had been shots fired, and certainly we had a large number of people fleeing. So that would be a tough question to answer.
Did you receive any information about the shots fired, who they may have been fired by?
I did not.
Hey, Cass.
Did you receive any information that someone may have been injured by the shots that were fired?
I did not receive any information regarding that.
Do you recall who were the first arriving units to the scene?
The first arriving units to the scene were myself, Engine 1, and Ambulance 51.
You can tell he's reading his lawyer's questions.
So it'd be fair to
His
say
previous
that
lawyer.
You would be B10?
That is correct.
And do you recall where you were positioned at when you arrived?
Yes, we turned right onto Main Street from Barstow, and we ended up probably 50 to 100 feet from that intersection, and I would say southwest of that intersection on Main Street.
So he just goes through their testimony, I guess, or on his case, his report. And he's going line by line. He's like, okay, let me ask him about this. And if he doesn't answer right as he put on the report, I got him. Mistrial.
Do you recall of any law enforcement attempting to clear the transportation routes?
At one point, I spoke with Sergeant Tokarski and asked him if he could assist me in opening up a route to get to the casualty collection point that we established.
Do you recall any loss of power in the downtown area?
Yes, I believe 1740, so 5:40 p.m., sometime around then. The entire, all the lights went out downtown. The downtown area lost power.
Do you recall receiving any information about what may have been the problem with the power?
Not at the time. However, later that evening, it was determined that a power line had gone down due to the high winds that evening.
So to the best of your knowledge, it wasn't due to
You?
the incident that you were responding to.
That is correct. I do not believe it was related.
Do you recall about what time you finally left the area?
I believe we cleared the scene about 6:40, 6:45 p.m.
Just watch, look at his little pin. His
Do you
little
recall if
pins are.
it was already nightfall by that time that you responded?
Just to clarify, are you asking when we responded or when we left?
Roughly around the time you responded. Do you recall it being nighttime, dusk?
It was not dark outside yet. It was probably close to dusk. I mean, there was still light in the sky.
Definitely nighttime when you left the scene.
That is correct.
Did you receive any information about why you needed to respond so quickly to the scene?
I'm gonna have to ask you to clarify that. We were dispatched by our dispatcher to respond to an incident, and in my line of work, that usually means you respond very quickly.
No information was given why you needed to respond so quickly?
Our system is set up so that our calls are triaged and our response levels are triaged accordingly. And in this case, this would have been a priority 1 response or intermediate response with lights and siren.
You guys are on point today with
So
these
it's really
3
just
questions.
get the call and go.
Yeah, it sure
That
is.
is correct.
Uh-huh.
So to your knowledge, you
Got their
didn't
emergency responders.
yet have information about why you needed to respond, but you know it was something that needed to be responded to quickly.
That is correct. We were initially dispatched to an unknown incident, and then it was clarified en route, as I mentioned, when the alarm was upgraded, that it was a motor vehicle versus pedestrian incident.
Motor vehicle versus pedestrian incident. Have you ever responded to any calls like that before?
Yes, sir.
But none of this magnitude. Okay, Bruiser. Bruiser says hello, everybody.
You mentioned something about a accident plan, or if I'm wrong, you can correct me, but was that what I heard? An accident plan?
Incident action plan.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
What does that entail?
It's a plan that's put together usually prior to or during an event that describes how resources are going to be deployed to manage or handle the event.
So it's sort of like just having something in place in case of.
It goes a step further than that. It's a plan that's in place or implemented, for example, in this case, to control access to the downtown area, to identify who is responsible for what tasks, such as clearing vehicles or establishing parade route integrity, those kinds of things.
I hate when he starts to question people and he starts to sound like a news anchor asking questions for a media report instead of being in court.
Outside of the parade incident, to your knowledge, was there any more needed responses to any other incidents that may have been in the area?
When you beat your girlfriend?
While we were on scene at the parade, I believe that we received 2 other calls for service in the city.
To your knowledge, do you recall if they were directly related?
I do not.
No
Feel
further
better,
questions.
Teresa? Oh, that was it?
Thank you. Any redirect?
Very briefly. On cross-examination, there was reference made to a casualty collection point. Can you describe what that is?
So a casualty collection point is something that's established when there's a mass casualty incident or a large number of casualties or people injured. The goal of it is to get people to a centralized point where they can receive treatment and triage or determining the severity of their injuries so that they can be transported directly from that area. It is the most efficient way to handle a mass casualty.
That's not something that you would set up in a routine pedestrian versus motor vehicle incident. Is that correct?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. He may answer.
That is not something that we would normally set up in a pedestrian versus motor vehicle accident.
Can we put Exhibit 1 back up on the screen, please?
Go ahead.
Could you circle for us on the screen in front of you where the casualty collection point was set up here?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. He may answer.
That is supposed to be the intersection of Clinton and Main.
Okay. And from there, where were the injured people transported to?
From that point, they were taken to 5 area hospitals.
Thank you, Lisa.
So not
Hey,
just
Casey.
Waukesha Memorial.
That is correct.
Waukesha Memorial is just up the hill off the side of this map, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. What other hospitals, if you recall?
Aurora Summit, Frederick Menominee Falls, Children's Hospital, and Frederick Hospital.
And aside from ambulances involved with your department and the other responding agencies, do you know how else victims were transported from the scene?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. He may answer. It's not hearsay.
Numerous patients were transported up by law enforcement, bystanders in the parade, and family members.
On cross-examination, in reference to this being a motor vehicle versus pedestrian incident, you were asked whether you'd ever responded to a call like that before, and you said, yes, sir. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes.
Oh, Sharon.
So I'd
got
ask
that.
a clarifying question. Have you ever been involved in or directed a response to a motor vehicle versus pedestrian incident of this magnitude before in your career?
Objection,
Go, Zach.
hearsay.
Overruled.
Go, Zach.
I have not.
That's all I have.
Boom.
Thank you.
Mic drop. Hey, you guys, give my moderator Casey a big hello and thank you for her work and time here today. And also, I want to thank you, Mark. Where did it go? There it is. For gifting a membership, and it looks like Miss Sharon got it. Yay! Very nice. Thank you so much, you guys.
All right. Thank you. You may step down.
Your Honor, may I clarify? I don't believe this witness is on the defendant's witness list. I'd ask that he be excused from this subpoena.
He may.
Thank you.
All right, Berger.
Your next witness.
Say we call Nicole White.
All right.
All right, this could be sensitive, you guys. I'm going to put up the content warning. So if you guys might get triggered, because she was hit, and she is. It's tough to watch her testimony. She's really going through it. Do I have a sign
Good
in?
afternoon, Ms.
VA
Wells.
meeting.
If you would please make your way to the witness stand. It is on my right, all the way to the back or front of the courtroom, as the case may be. And if you would, when you get there, come up a riser, raise your right hand, and my clerk Teresa will swear you in.
You are absolutely right, John. They did an amazing job. I'm putting together some stuff for the anniversary,
Shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
and it was nice to hear
Thank you, ma'am. Please have a
and
seat.
see what that not just the media said,
First
but
thing I will
the community, what the community said about the first responders, and also what the politicians, even the politicians said, that actually something that actually brought the politicians together, believe it or not.
Ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
Nicole White, NICOLEWHITE.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm going to direct your attention to November 21st of last year. Were you at the City of Waukesha parade?
I was.
And were you a participant or were you a spectator?
I was walking with the ReMax group.
Okay. So did ReMax have a float in the parade?
Yeah, there was a van.
Okay. Was there anything unusual about the van?
It had like a fire projector off the back of the top of the van with like a basket.
How did it come about that you were walking with the ReMax group?
My friend's mom was with the ReMax group and had asked us to join and walk with them.
Approximately how many people were walking with you that day?
I would have to guess and say maybe like 12.
Were a lot of those people you had known from your friends, your relationship with your friend?
Yeah, probably about half of them.
Okay. And what was the general, do you remember the weather that day? It was in November, I'm assuming cold?
Yeah, it was gray. I mean, sweatshirt and jeans weather.
Had you walked in the parade before?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Had you ever been a spectator at the City of Waukesha parade?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to show you a clip, and it's kind of at the beginning of the parade. It's Exhibit 142.
That's
I'm going to
cool,
have it displayed on the screen in front
Sierra.
of you, and I'm just going to ask you, we'll play a couple seconds of that if it's okay, and just let me know when it's displayed on your screen. Is it before you now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to play it for a couple seconds, okay? Do you recognize that video clip?
I've never seen this before, no.
Does that show, though, however, the van that was in front of you that you were marching with on the parade on November 21st of last year?
Yes.
Let me play a couple more seconds and you can tell me if you see yourself behind the van, all right?
Hi, Jer.
Yeah.
Does this accurately reflect what you recall of this section of the parade, which it looks like it's at the beginning of the parade in terms of who you were with and what the float looked like?
Yes.
Okay. I'd ask that the court admit this into evidence and display it, publish it to the jury.
Objection. Witness just stated she doesn't recall the clip.
The witness has answered questions that establish the foundation for this. And based on that, the court is going to receive Exhibit 142 and permission to publish is granted.
Wake up, Zephyr.
So wait one moment. I'm just going to have it played through so the jury can see it, okay? Okay, if you can play.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mel. I think she's also nervous too, though, this lady on the
Can you pause
stand.
it for a moment? Do you see yourself in this this section that's been paused?
Yes.
There's a touch screen. The screen in front of you actually will react to your finger. Can you circle where you are in this frame?
So she was
Okay.
the very first
And
one
if we
hit.
can clear that off, I just wanted to let the jury know kind of who they were looking at. If we can play it the rest of the way, it was paused at 21 seconds. It's a total clip of 33 seconds.
Is that a dog also? Yeah, it's a dog in the truck. Oh.
Thank you. Did you have a formation, or exactly what was the purpose of the people walking behind the van?
There were other people that were passing out candy along the way at certain points. I was mainly just taking pictures as we went.
Okay. And was that part of your your duty, is to kind of take pictures of the whole environment, what was around you, and kind of your perspective from walking in the parade?
Yeah, part of one of my friends from the group, her younger son was in the basket of the ReMax van, so I was taking pictures of him and the other younger boy.
Did there come a time when you, in the parade route, that you started hearing something unusual going on behind you?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever hear anything that caused you to look back?
No.
So what do you remember about, at some point, were you struck?
Yeah, that's the first point that I knew that anything was happening, was when I was hit. There wasn't any commotion or noise until right at that moment.
Okay. So can you tell the jury what you recall of that moment, if you will?
I just remember being struck by the vehicle from behind, like on my back, and then I fell to my knees and kind of rolled under the vehicle, and when after it happened, I guess I didn't really know, I thought that somebody would have stopped after that point, and when I looked up, I just remember the vehicle continued.
Do you recall anything about the vehicle, like a vehicle description, what color it was?
It was a red SUV.
And when you said that the vehicle, you thought it would have stopped, did you see the vehicle stop?
No,
Did you see any brake lights on the vehicle?
not that I can recall.
The objection is noted, it's overruled. Will you restate your answer, please?
No,
And I should have maybe clarified, did you see any brake lights activated after, when you looked up from being hit?
no.
Now, where were you in relationship to the float when the car struck you? Were you immediately behind the float? Do you recall?
I was probably a couple of yards back from the float, but I was behind the ReMax van, yes.
So would it be fair to say that you were more in the middle of the road versus on the left or the right side of the road?
Yes.
And when you looked up at the SUV, did you see the path that the car took, or the SUV?
It veered to the left side of the van that was in front of me.
And then did you see where it went after that?
It just continued, but I couldn't, the van, I couldn't see anything beyond that, no.
I agree, Cyan. I think that she's it looked like when she heard him say something, she looked over at him and it just freaked her out a little bit,
As you saw the car after it struck you, so what you're saying, I just want to make sure I've got this right, is prior to the vehicle striking you, you never looked back before it struck you.
Correct.
So you didn't know what hit you at the time that you were struck.
Correct.
And when it went past you, how fast was it going? And I'm not really talking about how many miles per hour, but was it at a slow speed, a medium speed? How would you describe it for the jury?
Hearsay.
Overruled. Go ahead and answer.
I would guess probably maybe 20 miles an hour.
And I'm assuming that you drive a car daily,
Yes, ma'am.
and you've been driving for 10 years, more than 10 years?
More than 10
Okay,
years, yes.
thank you. Did you ever hear a horn coming from the car prior to you being struck?
No,
Did you hear a horn coming from the car, or horn noise coming from the car after you were struck?
no.
us while she wasn't
I'm going to show you
Brooks's
what's been
witness.
marked as State's Exhibit 15. It'll again be on the screen. And it's, would you generally characterize this, and it can be displayed, it's already been admitted into evidence.
Yes, permission to publish, once again is granted.
Generally speaking, do you recognize this as a parade route? If you look in the upper right part of the screen, there's like a purple line that kind of goes down White Rock Avenue, takes a right, and it goes down Main Street. Does that look familiar?
Yes.
And that would be the route of the parade that day?
Yes.
And direct your attention to approximately shortly after Main and Barstow. There's a star, a yellow star, and then if you connect that line to the yellow star, it says your name and RE/MAX services. Do you see that?
Yes.
Would it help if we zoomed in, or you can see it from there?
I can see it.
Okay. Why don't we zoom in a little bit so maybe the jury can see it? I don't know how familiar you are with Waukesha, but the roads are kind of a little crazy. And would that accurately reflect where you were struck?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. After you were struck, what did you observe of the parade route?
I mean, it was very chaotic. There was people at that point that began like running and screaming to either help others or flee from the area. There was like a group that like came to me and like helped me over to like the side of the road.
Were you able to walk?
No, my knee was injured, so.
What did you do what happened after you got to the side of the road?
Initially, the people that came to me helped me sit in a chair on the side of the road, and then eventually, moments later, they moved us into the building that was right there, which was the Smart Asset Realty.
And that's also in the area, I think it's reflected on Exhibit 15, that would be in the area of where you were struck?
That's correct, yes.
What did you do once you got into the Smart Asset Realty building?
I mean, there was several other people that were in there as well. And I sat there and waited. There was a nurse or someone that had like some medical experience that kind of like looked at me, and then I waited until later on when I was, there was a police officer that came back and escorted me to the hospital.
So the police officer transported you to the hospital?
Correct.
Was that Waukesha Memorial Hospital?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 20. And I'm going to ask you, it'll just be in front of you initially. I'm going to show you a couple seconds of that and ask you if that's, if you recognize what's contained in that video. It is a 3-second video, so I'll actually show the whole thing to you before we ask that it be admitted and published. So why don't you take a moment to view that?
Aw, thank you, Zephyr Sky.
Is it on the screen in front of you?
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome to those coming in late. Steve. On this witness,
Did
yeah, I
you
would have wanted
recognize
to
that
be.
video?
No, I had not seen that before.
Do you recognize, though, what took place in that video?
Yes.
Can you describe to the jury what you just saw?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Grounds.
It's not hearsay.
It was a video of the events that took place that day where I was struck by the vehicle.
I would ask the court to admit this exhibit into evidence and also to allow the state to publish it.
Hey, Gringa. Clearly
Exhibit
hearsay.
Mr. Brooks, anything?
Objection.
The objection is noted, it's overruled. Exhibit 20 is received, permission to publish is granted.
Now, before we start the video, do you recognize the white van that's depicted, I'd say in the upper third of the screen?
Yeah, that is the Remax van.
And you see approximately where you are on this frame?
Yes.
And can you, I don't know if you can do it with the video, but if you can just circle it, or circle you. Okay.
All at the top of.
Yeah. Can we clear that? I think you circled a couple people. There's one, and I think before you circled yourself, you were wearing a red sweatshirt right there. Okay, thank you. If you can clear the screen. And let's take a look at the video. Thank you.
Hi, Erica.
Jason, we just looked at the video.
Overruled.
Such a jerk.
And did that accurately depict the car hitting you from behind and then rolling over your legs?
Yes.
What injuries did you suffer as a result of this, generally speaking?
2 torn ligaments in my right knee, and then 2 my spine, like my lower spine. 2 vertebrae were like compressed, and then my tailbone.
And those were all the results of being struck?
Oh, correct.
She'll be in pain her whole life because of him.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Any cross, Mr. Brooks?
Doesn't even cross
Yes,
his
Your
mind.
Honor. You stated that when you were struck from behind, you didn't hear or see the vehicle approach. Is that correct?
That's correct.
She doesn't have eyes in the back of her head, moron.
And you estimated this. Did you estimate the speed, or do you recall how fast the vehicle may have been going?
When it hit me, no, I was not able to see that.
When it passed you?
They had asked me when it passed me afterwards what I would estimate it to have been. And I said, if I had to guess, it was probably around 20 miles an hour afterwards.
Would it be fair to say from the videos that we just saw that the vehicle wasn't traveling fast?
Your Honor, I'm just going to, for the record,
Grounds.
just clarify that the video is showing at 50% speed.
Grounds. Wow.
I didn't know that initially, I guess.
Nobody knew that.
Can you play it at full speed then, please? And then he can ask the question.
Wait, should we rewind a little bit on that one? Did y'all pick up on that? This is brilliant right here.
And I sat there and waited. There was a nurse or someone that had like some medical experience that kind of like looked at me, and then I waited until later on when I was, there was a police officer that came back and escorted me to the hospital.
So the police officer transported you to the hospital?
Correct.
Was that Waukesha Memorial Hospital?
Correct.
Okay.
Here it comes, y'all.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit
shoot.
20.
Did I go back too far?
And I'm going to ask you, it'll just be in front of you initially.
I'm
I'm going to show
sorry,
you a
hang
couple
on.
seconds of that and ask you if that
Overruled.
Let me see. Oh, shoot.
to the screen
Yeah, that is the Remax.
behind and then roll.
No, I was not able to see that.
When it passed you?
They had asked me when it passed me afterwards what I would estimate it to have been. And I said, if I had to guess, it was probably around 20 miles an hour afterwards.
Would it be fair to say from the videos that we just saw that the vehicle wasn't traveling fast?
Your Honor, I'm just going to, for the record,
Grounds.
just clarify that the video is showing at 50% speed.
Grounds. Wow.
Boom.
I didn't know that initially, I guess.
Nobody knew that.
Can you play it at full speed then, please? And then he can ask the question.
Certainly.
Go ahead, your question, sir.
And you said that you would estimate the vehicle was going around 20 miles per hour?
Correct.
And how would you come to that estimation?
I based on previous experience with vehicle traffic.
So would it be fair to say you don't know for sure how fast the vehicle was traveling?
There's no way for me to say for sure how fast the vehicle was going. I was not driving it.
You stated that you fell to the ground. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Did you at any point get a description of the driver of the vehicle?
No.
Were you able to make out if anyone was in the vehicle besides the driver?
No.
Here we go with the tinted windows.
Did you get a license plate number?
No.
License plate. Good gracious.
Did you file a claim in this matter?
There was a police report filed, yes.
Do you remember the name of the officer that you filed the report with?
No, I do not. It was an FBI agent.
Do you recall the date that you were interviewed or that you made the report?
November 21st.
Would that be with the FBI agent as you just stated or with local law enforcement?
The FBI.
Julie, I know, right?
I know it's kind of far, but can you see this paper that I'm holding?
Yeah.
Is that your handwriting?
If you can't see it that close, just say you can't.
I can't read it from here.
We have the document camera we can put up.
This is gonna take them 20 minutes to do this. I agree, J. Carr. He's so numb to what he did.
Let me see if we can get this up.
I don't know, not numb. He's clueless to what he did. Oh yeah, he did feel like when the FBI got involved that he was a big deal. That's probably what he talks about in prison. Wouldn't you think? Yeah, you know, FBI got involved in my case.
Apparently it takes about 2 minutes to project it.
2 minutes. Well said, Cher. I would too, Cass. I would too. Like, I don't know though. He's such a weasel. I probably would get up there. I would be one of those that I would over answer things, and probably the judge would get on me because I would be wanting to snap back at him. That's why I feel like so much
Verify, this will just be previewed for the witness.
respect
It doesn't have personal
for the people of
identifying information
Waukesha.
on it.
Okay.
and how these people got up there and held their emotions together. Oh, Kajita said no, he is perfectly aware of what he
To
did.
that, Your Honor, this is a public trial. We have to remember that.
Excuse me?
Your objection's noted.
He's so stupid. Yeah, let's put your victim's information up for the whole world to
It's
see.
upside down, okay.
I had to hit the,
Can you move it up a little bit? Well, can you see that?
It's not in front of her
Oh,
yet, so
I'm
we
sorry.
did that. We just wanted to make sure we could get it working.
I'm sorry.
It'll be there momentarily.
I apologize.
You wouldn't have known. There you go. It's up.
Is that your handwriting on this document?
Yes,
And you stated that you gave a report to the FBI on November the 21st. Is that correct?
that is correct.
Is it correct that this date here says 12/29 of 21?
That's not what this form is.
What would this form be?
That was a form that was filled out as a follow-up based on my experience at the parade. I spoke with someone in person on the 21st.
Do you know who provided you with this form that we're looking at?
I believe it was through the Victims Witness program. I don't recall correct, no. It was emailed to me, I believe.
So
Oh,
would it
thank
be
you,
fair to
Gringa.
say then that the report you filed was with Officer Wagner?
You talking about this report or previously?
The report of being struck
On the 21st of November?
on the 21st of November.
Do you know the name of the individual you spoke with on the 21st?
Not offhand, no.
He brought the wrong form.
Do you recall stating in the report that you filed on November 21st that you saw a red SUV go to the left of the float and then to the right in front?
I don't believe, that's, what I recall is what I had stated earlier, was that I saw veer to the left of the float. From there, I wouldn't have been able to see.
Would it be fair to say that, reading from the report that you gave on November the 21st, that it says that you saw a red SUV go to the left of the float and then to the right in front?
I don't have the report, so
Would you like to see it? I have right here.
Mr. Brooks, do you want to show her the report? Then you need to put it on the document camera.
Ugh.
Preview it again.
You know, that's true, Nancy, because if you think about it, I wonder if the hospital admin had to get involved and pull her out of the, like area and say, we need to pull, we need to make sure you're not
I
around
believe
for
that
this.
that may have been notes that were with the report that went to Mr. Brooks. That is not the report.
Once again.
Looks to be a summary of what she may have provided to another officer, FBI agent, but not the report itself. So in light of that, she's not going to be questioned on that unless that helps refresh her recollection.
Does it?
Look at it, it's in front of you, right?
yeah.
Does that in any way help refresh your recollection about what you may have told an investigator in this case.
I
On the
believe,
21st, sorry.
yeah, I believe this was a year ago, but I believe what I said was that I witnessed it continue to drive, veer to the left to avoid the van that was in front of me, and then continue driving without stopping.
And just so the record is clear, because it was being used, I think, to refresh her recollection. After she reviewed it, I turned off the camera. So it's not in front of her at the moment.
What do you,
It's being given back to you. Go ahead, ask your next question.
I have the actual report too, if that may help.
Yeah, that might be good for you.
Would it be fair to say that you testified that you don't recall hearing anything or seeing anything before you were struck, correct?
Correct.
And now this is reading from the report, page 1.
I guess the proper foundation for Mr. Brooks to use would be if reviewing a report would refresh her recollection, and then based upon her answer, he would go from there.
Well, you could also just directly ask the question, since it's on cross-exam. Isn't it true that you said X to the investigator? But you need to quote directly then from the
I intend
report.
to.
Go ahead, ask your question.
Quote right from here. Is it true that you said when you were walking, well, it says White explained when she was walking, she heard screaming, and as she looked around, she was hit by the red SUV. Does that refresh or help you recall anything that happened on November 21st?
No,
Do you recall saying that?
I do not recall those exact words, no.
Thank you so much for your gift
you
and
recall
membership,
saying
Stepper. You're
that?
so kind. Doing an Oprah.
Well, this is all it's explaining like in the third person, I'm assuming. It says White. As she lay on the ground, White stated she observed the red SUV go to the left of the float and then to the right in front of the float.
Again,
Hold on, she may answer. Go ahead.
as I previously stated, I observed the van go towards the left, the vehicle go towards the left of the van, at which point there was no indication that it was stopping or anything, and that it continued from there. I could not see what happened beyond it going to the left of the van because the van was in front of me blocking my view.
It also says White stated the vehicle appeared to be traveling extremely fast and it did not slow down or even brake. But you just said that you couldn't see the vehicle once it veered around the van. Is that fair to say?
As it veered to the left of the van, it did appear to be moving fast, yes.
Would it be fair to say that the video footage doesn't show that?
Objection, that mischaracterizes the video footage, as the
Grounds.
video was cut off shortly after striking Miss White.
You're making an argument, which is something you can do later, so I'll sustain the objection as to the form of the question.
It goes on to say, White did not observe the driver of the SUV and could only describe the SUV as red, and it appeared to be a lower rise, in quotation marks, SUV and maybe a Traverse. Do you recall saying that?
I said it was a similar size to a Traverse.
What is a Traverse?
Objections are relevant.
Well,
Grounds.
it's overruled. She may answer and explain why she said what she did.
Because in my opinion, it's a lower sitting SUV or vehicle versus like some of the higher, set up higher and are bigger in size. It was more of a mid-size, lower to the ground SUV, in my opinion. Similar to a Traverse.
Do you recall saying that, and I'm reading from the report again, White stated that she was treated and released at Waukesha Memorial Hospital and sustained bruising, scars, and road rash on her body and a knee injury to her right leg. White stated that she did not have a broken leg, but may have a torn MCL. Do you recall reporting that?
Yes.
So would it be fair to say, and I'm asking this because you said may have a torn MCL, would it be fair to say that at that time you were not sure of the full extent of your injury?
Yes.
About how long were you treated at Waukesha Memorial Hospital?
A few hours.
I can't even imagine it, Cass. The feeling that she's going through up there.
Just 1 second.
I gotta get my papers together. Somebody stole my paperwork.
And did you file a claim in this matter? Any type of claim?
Yes.
What was that claim?
There were claims that were filed with the state of Wisconsin that were to cover like the cost of the medical treatment that was received.
So the state of Wisconsin offered to pay your medical expenses.
It was through the Victim Witness Protection Program.
So would you consider yourself a party to this matter then?
Objection.
You think?
Grounds.
Sustained, not relevant. Excuse me.
And in the claim that you filed, did you file a claim under an injured party?
Objection. I guess I'm not
Grounds.
understanding the question. It's vague.
Grounds.
She indicated she filed a claim because she was injured.
So
Mr. Brooks, I'm sustaining the objection as to the form of the question. Please rephrase.
do you consider yourself an injured party?
Yes.
Are you a plaintiff in this matter? Grounds.
She's a witness. Sustained.
Have you read or seen the complaint in this matter at any time?
Objection is to relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. She may answer.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Have you seen or read the complaint?
No, I don't know what complaint is being referred to. No.
She's having a hard time. She must be patting her leg or something because she's shaking.
And were you aware that you may be called to testify in this matter?
Yes.
And who were you informed by?
The Victim Witness Program and the prosecutors.
So are you saying the state of Wisconsin?
Relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained. Mr. Brooks, under item 611, please move on to another line of questioning.
Thank you so much, J. Carr. It's very kind of you, honey. I really appreciate that.
At the moment that you were struck, did you observe anyone else struck at that time?
No,
So it'd be fair to say that you were, to your knowledge, at that time, you were the only one that you knew that was struck.
yes, to my knowledge. At
Would
that
it be-
time.
Would it be fair to say that there were numerous people in the general area that you were at that time?
Yes,
So once again, he's bringing up the fact that, okay, all these people that were there, but you were the only one that got hit, right? Right? So that's good that I only hit you, right?
At that time, did you learn about anybody that was struck at the point in time that you were struck?
at the time that I was hit, no.
And you stated that you didn't see any brake lights.
Good gracious. Tinted
Correct.
windows. Oh, bless her heart.
You were able to see that from the ground position.
Correct.
From your opinion, did it appear to you that the vehicle was attempting to strike anyone?
Objection calls for speculation.
Grounds.
The way he asked, the way he asked it, did it appear? If you know, you may answer.
It appeared it was traveling in the direction where it could have struck other people, yes.
But to the best of your knowledge, you didn't know for sure.
That's correct.
No further questions.
Redirect.
Just briefly. Ma'am, after receiving medical attention at Waukesha Memorial Hospital, did you receive any other medical attention following November 21st, 2021?
Objection irrelevant.
Overruled. She may answer.
And direct your attention back to the video. It was Exhibit 20, the one that was the overhead video. Do you recall seeing that video today?
Objection. She never answered the first question.
She said yes.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't hear it.
It was a little quiet, but I heard it.
Do you recall seeing Exhibit 20, which was an overhead video of you being struck?
Today, yes.
Yes. And was that the same red SUV depicted in that video as what you saw after you were struck?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
That's a good point, J. Carr. I do it sometimes if I'm just, like, I've had too much coffee or something. I'm just kind of, oh, now he's going to act like it upsets him.
She may.
This is where he shows his fake emotions. Oh, now he's going to pat his chest.
You may call your next witness.
Oh, look at what I'm
State
going
call Sarah
through.
Weimer-Apparicio. Madam
at what
Clerk,
I'm
we
going
also
through after
work
that.
on getting the rear table switched as the input. Thank you.
And then boom, he jumps, like, just from acting like that to going on to other stuff. Watch how quickly he changes.
Today, yes.
Yes. And was that the same red SUV depicted in that video as what you saw after you were struck?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You may
Okay,
step
now
down.
watch when he switches his. Let me do this for a second and let the jury see that I'm upset. I got my tissue already ready to go. Oh.
She may.
Let me dry my dry eyes. Looking around. Everybody see me do that? Did they see me do that? Okay. Oh,
You may call your next witness.
The state calls Sarah Weimer-Apparicio. Madam Clerk, could we also
okay, moving
work
on.
getting the roll table
It's just
input?
insane.
Thank you.
Good gracious. Okay, the next one to come up, you guys, is the band director,
sorry,
and
what's
this
her
is
name again?
very
Weimer.
tough too.
Thank you.
Right, Minnie T? Yeah, I don't think anybody bought it, Nancy, but it's just so sickening. He's watching the clock like, what's time to him? Well, we know what time is to
That's
him,
fine.
but it's just so phony. Yeah. Thinking being affected because she was probably, oh, you think she was limping away? I bet she was. You're right, Mel. They didn't show her, but
Good afternoon, Ms. Weimer-Apparicio. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is up a riser to my right. When you get there, please remain standing, raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
and those back injuries, guys, they are just, you can't do, it's like you can't hardly do anything to relieve the pain. And I bet that's part of why, Jay Carr said she was like stressed or whatever, but I bet some of it was pain. She's trying to reshuffle her body while she's sitting there for so long.
She's right over here.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do.
Thank you, ma'am. Please have a seat. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names and spell each for the record.
All right, my first name is Sarah, S-A-R-A-H. My last names are Weimeyer, W-E-H-M-E-I-E-R, and Apparicio, A-P-A-R-I-C-I-O.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Ma'am, can you tell us where you work?
I work for the school district of Waukesha.
What was your job title during the 2021-2022 academic year?
I was the director of bands at Waukesha South High School.
What kind of things do you do as the band director at South?
Organize all sorts of events, whether it's concerts or marching band performing in parades.
How long did you hold that position?
I held the position on and off over the years for 10 years.
As the band director at Waukesha South, how frequently did you interact with the kids who were members of the band?
On a daily basis.
Okay. And did you know the name of all the kids that were in your marching band during that school year?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Did the band march in the 2021 Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Yes, we did.
Were you there with them?
Yes, I was.
Had you done that in the past?
Yes, I had.
About how many times?
Every year that I was there, we did that parade as well as Memorial Day.
Would you describe it as an event that the kids look forward to?
Absolutely.
When the band marches, are they in formation?
They are.
What about uniforms? Do they have any?
We do have uniforms, yes.
Okay. When you march in formation, is this something that you practice with the band?
We do. We practice with the students that are in the marching band portion of the parade. We had also done another parade in the Dells that year, so we had practiced with that. For the students that are not in marching band, we had practiced during class time for several weeks leading up to it.
How does the formation of the marching band get set up?
So we practice during class, and then we kind of have the general structure of what it will look like, and then student leaders within the section place the students in their places the day of the parade.
So they have a little leeway, but you don't want bass drums marching next to clarinets?
Correct, exactly. So we say these 2 rows will be flutes, so senior leaders help decide which flutes are in those located, or those specified
Thank you, Mary.
places.
Have a good one, honey.
I'm going to ask that we project Exhibit 21 onto the screen for the witness and the defendant.
Permission granted.
Just let me know when you see a picture in front of you.
Okay. It is here, yep.
Okay, what are we looking at with Exhibit 21? Can you tell us what this is?
So this is an aerial view of our marching band. You can see the names of the students that are identified. Those were all students that were physically impacted by the car that day.
November 21st of 2021,
Correct,
the Waukesha Christmas Parade.
correct.
Have you reviewed this photograph and the information contained in it before your testimony today?
Yes, I have.
Does it accurately represent the formation of the kids in your band on that day?
It does, yes.
I move Exhibit 21 into evidence and ask to publish.
Any position?
The object.
Welcome in those newbies that just got
Exhibit
here.
21 has received permission to publish as granted.
And can we zoom in on that a little bit? There we go. Can you walk us through from left to right, just identifying, I know that we can all read, but just for the record, can you read those names for us and then also tell us what instrument each of those
Wow.
kids is playing?
All right, so first we have Aiden Lofgren on bass drum, Connor Tank on crash cymbals, Justin Golickson on sousaphone, Eric Teagues trombone, Tyler Pudliner on tenor sax, still on the exterior Harry Gofoy on trumpet, then Eleanor Anders on mellophone, Theo Mazza on trumpet, Mara Gilchrist on alto sax, and Sasha Catalan on clarinet.
What's a mellophone?
A mellophone is a marching version of a French horn.
What about a sousaphone?
A marching version of a tuba.
Have you ever seen the Ohio State Marching Band perform?
I have, yes.
I'll withdraw the question.
Why did Zach ask that question, y'all?
So, there are 10 members of your band identified in this photograph, is that
I
right?
think Leslie's
That's correct.
laughing.
Okay. Could we please project for the witness only Exhibit 15? Do you see something on your screen in front of you?
Oh, I'm
There's a
sorry,
map on
Sharon.
the screen.
Are you familiar with downtown Waukesha?
I am, yes.
Okay. Do you recognize what we're looking at in this map?
I do, yes.
Okay. Exhibit 15 was previously received and published. I'd ask to publish again.
Permission granted.
You think he was in the band, Nancy?
Could we zoom in, Ms. Gussie, on the intersection? There we go. Yep. All right. Do you see a yellow star between Barstow and Gasper Streets on Main Street?
Yes,
And do you see the line connecting that yellow star to a box with some green background and some names
I do.
under the banner of Waukesha South Band?
Correct, yes.
Super Kelly thinks so
Take
too.
a moment, take as much time as you need, read through those names in that list. Let me know when you're done.
Okay.
Are the names on that list identical to the name that you previously told us about in Exhibit 21, that photograph of the aerial view?
Yes.
Overruled. She may answer. I believe she did answer, and her answer may stand. Did the jury all hear that? All right, thank you.
Can you tell us what happened while your band was marching between Barstow and approaching Gasper Street on Main Street on November 21st of 2021?
So I was towards the front of the band. That tends to be where I typically am because if you can imagine a typical parade, there's a lot of stopping and starting as the band is going through the streets. And so I am in connection with our drum majors. Those are the student leaders who have the whistles that give the students the command when they should be forward marching and when we should be marching in place. So I'm helping look ahead to see what's coming down the road while the students are busy playing their instruments. The streets had just narrowed as we got into that point, and there was a lot of enthusiasm in the crowd, and I could feel the energy from the students. And all of a sudden I heard something going on, so I turned around, and at first I thought there was an emergency vehicle or something. I could tell there was some sort of a vehicle trying to get through. And then I started just seeing things flying in the air, and I realized this was not a vehicle waiting for people to move out of the way. I realized this vehicle was running over people. The students around me, we all kind of dispersed at the same time. I thought in the initial moments that it was an accident, but then as I turned and the car went immediately past me, and I could see that the driver was staring straight ahead and knew, could have clearly seen that they were running over people.
What happened next?
My first impact was to run after the car for a moment, and then I realized, because I watched them run over the people in front of me as well, and then I turned around and I saw my students all laying on the street and screaming. A police officer immediately, what felt like at the time, immediately came running, shots fired. And so my students who weren't injured were all dispersed, and I was trying to at the same time watch over my students in the street, but keep an eye on where the other students who were going so that I could make sure they were all safe as well. But I stayed in the streets so that we didn't know where the shots fired were coming from, so I wanted to make sure that those students in the street were safe as well.
And just to clarify, you mentioned that you heard from a police officer that shots had been fired?
Correct.
You yourself, with the trained ear of a band director, didn't hear any gunshots?
I did not hear gunshots, no.
Okay. I'm going to ask that we project on the screen for the witness only, exhibit number 24, please.
Permission granted.
And can we make sure we're playing this at normal speed?
He said that normal speed.
And we're going to turn the volume off while we identify, so we'll leave it off there. I'm just going to play a few seconds without any volume, and then I'll stop and I'll ask you a question, okay?
All right, guys, watch your ears. Did he say no volume? When they do have the
we've
volume on,
stopped
it's
at
going to
about
be
5
tough.
seconds into the video. Do you recognize this video?
Yes, that is our band performing.
And I'm not sure how familiar you are with downtown, but do you know the businesses that your band is in front of right now?
We're by Davino Gelato and Martha Merrill's.
Okay.
And then the Alo Chocolat and everything is on the other side as well as an apartment building.
Okay. Have you reviewed this video before your testimony today?
Yes, I have.
Does it accurately depict what happened to your band the
Yes, it
afternoon of the
does.
parade? Move exhibit 24 into evidence and ask to publish.
Any position, Mr. Brooks?
Nancy,
Objection.
thanks, Nancy.
If the witness has seen this video before, how would that corroborate with the testimony?
Your objection is noted, it's overruled. Exhibit 24 is received, permission to publish is granted.
No way you're getting out of this
We are
video.
going to play this
No way.
entirely through. It's 30 seconds long. We're going to play it once with the audio at normal speed. Go ahead. All right, let's pull it up again
No
and
remorse.
set the speed to 50%. And turn the audio off. And we're going to
didn't
play
react.
to a certain point, and then I'll say pause, and then I'll ask you some questions when we pause, okay?
Objection, what is the relevancy of playing it at slower speed?
Your objection is noted, it's overruled, permission granted.
Go ahead and play. Pause. We've paused at 11 seconds. From viewing the video up to this 11-second point, can you tell us who in your band was struck by that SUV so far?
So far, that would have been Aiden, Connor, Justin, Eric, and Tyler. I believe at that point, perhaps also Harry.
And let's resume at the 11-second mark, please.
Eric was the one with the drums, wasn't he? I don't remember. The one with the tuba was the one, not the tuba, the big
Pause.
drum. He was the one that was
We
hurt
paused at 16 seconds.
more than anybody. I think. I'm not certain.
Would it be fair to say that the remaining students we've been talking about today were struck after that point?
Correct.
And now we've reached a point where the SUV is completely past all of your band members?
Correct.
I'm going to ask that we project for the witness only exhibit number 23.
Go ahead.
Tyler is the one who's. Yeah,
We're
Tyler
just going to
spoke
play
at
a few
sentencing. but
seconds at normal speed here
the
without
other
any
ones I'm
audio.
thinking of.
Pause. We're 5 seconds in. Do you recognize this video?
Yes, I do.
Did you see yourself in the video?
I did.
Does this video depict the same marching band in the same area of Main Street on November 21st?
It does.
I move exhibit 23 into evidence and ask to publish.
Any position, Mr. Brooks?
Objection.
Your objection's noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 23 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
We'll play this once through at normal speed with audio, please.
Yeah, I couldn't watch it. I just can't.
At the tail end of that video, we saw a red SUV. Is that the SUV you've been talking about during your testimony?
That is, yes.
Okay. And can we go back to the beginning of that video? We'll turn the audio off. And we'll just play a few seconds here from the beginning. Pause. We are 2 seconds in. Do you see yourself on the screen?
I do.
So that's a touch screen in front of you. Would you mind drawing a circle around yourself?
Okay.
All right. So you are directly above the Black Shirt Band banner.
Correct.
All right. And then we can clear that. All right, we did it already. Thank you. I'd ask that we put up for the witness only exhibit number 22, please.
Go ahead.
We'll play a few seconds without any audio for the witness only. Pause. And we've stopped at 7 seconds. Do you recognize that video?
I do.
What does this video show?
This video also shows the car coming through as well, and different angle in terms of some of the students dispersing as well, some of them getting struck by the car.
And is this video also an accurate representation of what happened that day?
Yes, it is.
Move exhibit 22 into evidence and ask to publish.
Any, Mr. Brooks, any
Objection.
position?
Objection.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 22 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
We're going to play this in its entirety. It's 32 seconds long with the audio. Did you see yourself in that video?
I did.
Did you hear that man? He said, "Are you okay? Is our family okay?" I think is what he said. He must have been talking to his wife.
Let's go back to the beginning, please, and set it to play at 50% speed. And we'll turn the audio off this time. And we'll play from the beginning. Let's pause. We've paused at 9 seconds. Can you use the screen in front of you and circle yourself if you see yourself? Can we clear that, please? And we'll resume at the 9-second mark.
We're at an hour and a half. It was about a 2-hour video, I think. Let me double check, J-Car.
Pause. We've paused at 21 seconds. You testified earlier that you initially ran towards the vehicle as it was driving away, is that right?
Correct.
Do we see you do that in this portion of the video?
Yes.
If you see yourself, can you circle yourself on the screen? So you're in the bottom right-hand corner. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. We can take that down. Did you see that red SUV stop at any point?
No.
As you were in real time remembering the events of that day, do you recall seeing any of your students getting hit?
I did not see any of my students get hit, only of the group in front of me. I just saw, like I said, things flying because they were in the formation. It came through the middle.
He's looking
In the
stained.
immediate aftermath, after the vehicle had gone through and after you had run after it briefly, did you have any personal interaction with students who had been hit?
I did. There were several on the ground, and they were surrounded by other bystanders who stepped in. So I just basically was circulating on the ground between the students who were injured, and then the students had run away to several shops in the area. And so I was just, it probably was an hour, it felt like. I don't really know how much time it was exactly, but rotating between the students who were injured as we were waiting for first responders, as well as checking on the students and trying to at least keep the kids who were not injured in a space where we knew where they were, so we could safely get them home once all of our injured students
She
had
was a
been
great
picked up by
witness.
first responders.
Do you know whether any of those students that you had personal interaction with had to be transported to the hospital?
There were several students that had to be taken to the hospital.
Do you know in general the nature of some of those injuries?
There was many broken bones, a lot of, there was internal bleeding, dental work that needed to be done, lots of stitches, cuts, abrasions, sprains, torn ligaments.
Did you remain in your capacity as the Waukesha South marching band director for the remainder of that academic year?
I did.
You eventually went back to school after that Sunday, the 21st, is that right?
That is correct. So we went back to school once we were assured that we had as many students that were still left in the area back to get them on the bus back to school.
You're talking about that night, Sunday
That
the
evening,
21st?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And in the days that followed, kids
Yes.
came back to school,
They did, yes.
and you had personal
Face.
interaction with the members of your marching band?
Yes, I did.
Overrule.
Can we please put Exhibit 21 back up on the screen? And this has previously been admitted, it's the diagram. I'd ask that we put it up for the jury as well.
Go ahead.
Based on your own observations that day, your interaction with the students in the immediate aftermath, and your review of the video evidence here today in court, how many of those 10 members of your marching band were either struck or run over by the red SUV?
They all were.
Can you tell us whether or not you got a good look at the driver that day?
I did from the profile.
Approximately how many feet would you estimate you were from the driver at his closest?
Probably 2 feet.
You were still in the street at that point,
Correct.
and the SUV was too?
Yes.
We saw in the video what the lighting conditions were, but could you describe from your own memory what the lighting was like that day?
Objection irrelevant.
Overruled. You may answer.
The lights were beginning, the sun was beginning to set. However, we were in an area where we were by lots of stores, so the sun was still out, as well as the light coming from all the storefronts.
Could we project on the screen for the witness only, exhibit number 120?
He could have used the defense that the sun was in his eyes.
Do you see an image
know
on
what
the
I'm
screen in
saying.
front of you?
Yes, I do.
He went right
Is
over
that
that
image an accurate representation of what the driver of the SUV looked like that day when you saw him?
Completely, yes.
I'd move exhibit 120 into evidence and ask to publish.
120 is received. Permission to publish is granted. May have been received earlier.
Yeah, it's already been received.
Oh yeah, he remembered this photo. Look, the windows aren't tinted.
I believe you testified a little bit earlier about the driver's demeanor as you observed him. Could you go into more detail about that?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. She may answer.
So originally my perception just had been that I assumed there was an accident because I could not imagine anything else. But when the car went past me, my perception changed of what was happening completely, because the driver was looking straight ahead, looked very attentive at that point. So the driver clearly was aware that he had hit and run over all of these people. It was not something that could have happened without the driver's awareness. We were also coming up on an intersection of a cross street, and although there was a crowd on the side, again, this is just my perception, but if the driver had been trying to escape the parade route so they were no longer hitting people, I felt like an instinct would have caused the head to turn to see if there was a way out on that side street. But the driver's head never turned looking for a way out of the parade route at that moment, and that's what caused my perception of what was going on that day to change.
Great.
When you say side street, you're referring to the street that runs in front of the Martha Merrill bookstore?
Correct.
Gasper Street?
Gasper Street.
And again, just to clarify, when we look at exhibit number 120 here, the person in white, is that a member of your band?
Yes, that is. That is one of the student conductors.
And then the person in the foreground on the right with a blurry face, is that another, I don't know if you know who it is, but can you tell us if that's a member of your band?
That is a member of our band, yes.
Okay. That's all the questions I have for this witness. Thank you.
All right, court's going to take a break before we do cross-exam. Take our afternoon break for about 15 minutes. All rise for the jury, please.
Yeah, at one point he did have to roll his window down because he couldn't see over the damaged hood that was all buckled up in front of the windshield. Or the windshield actually was shattered too, wasn't it? Not shattered, but it had a lot of breakage where he couldn't see very well. But that was afterwards. I agree with this, Yaki. I totally agree with you on this.
We'll see.
It might have been, that was a good point, because, maybe the judge was upset after that. She's got kids, probably around that age. I wonder how old her kids are. Does anybody know? I looked it up one time, but I forgot. 5 minutes afterwards.
Teresa, you want to update my exhibit? Oh, sure. Do you have that? I've been keeping them going, so I just whatever's easiest to do. Otherwise, you can just.
Bluesy says she thinks he went to that Judge Darrell went to the same high school as the marching band. Okay. I don't know if that's true, but okay. You heard that somewhere? And then Mark says Judge went to that school. Okay.
All right, we are back on the record. Appearances are as they were before. We'll bring the jury out for cross. Go ahead.
Her kids were teenagers at the time of this? Okay. Thank you, guys.
For that, Your Honor, can we address the subject matter jurisdiction, please?
No, not right now.
Nope. She's like, nope, don't even. Yeah, you guys, I think this is the most upset I saw her during all the testimony. Or maybe this is like the first time that they showed her this upset, but you could tell this one got to her big time.
Got a judicial determination, Your Honor.
She's been crying. She's sniffling. Bless her heart. She probably has PTSD from this damn trial. She is done with him right now. Coffee Cake says Darrell has 1 in college and 2 in high school. Thank you, honey. Yeah, deflect, Nancy. Anything but what just happened. But he's already turned that off, though. He's already moved on.
All right.
What's Opera got in the bottle? Hey, I say whatever it is, she deserves it. Cachito. I'd be down for whatever. And you know what? Some of the jurors might have been upset too after seeing that. So she might have noticed that as well. It might not have just been her. Again, something that we
Thank you,
can't see,
everyone.
but
Please be seated. Mr. Brooks, do you have any questions for this witness? Go ahead.
of course he does.
On the night of evening of November 21st, 2021, do you recall what officer conducted your interview?
I do not recall.
Can you recall if it was a detective or just a regular officer?
I do not recall.
Totally irrelevant.
You mentioned earlier in testimony that that there was a side street where there could have been an exit out of the parade route
Correct.
provided. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say, yes.
Do you recall if that side street was barricaded in any way?
I do not recall.
Do you recall if there was another side street on the opposite side of the street?
The other side of the street has a plaza, so there's an open space, but it's not a traffic, for car traffic street.
Do you recall what that street would be used for if not for traffic?
It's an open space where people who have been on the shops on Main Street can go down to the Riverwalk.
Do you know park there?
They may not.
So it's basically like just a walkway.
Correct.
From what you recall, can you estimate the speed of the vehicle that you saw that day?
I'm not good at estimating speeds, but it felt fast as it went past me. It felt like it was accelerating.
And you stated you was relatively close to the vehicle when it passed you.
Yes, I was.
Were you injured in any way?
I was not. Fortunately, I'd moved just in time.
Do you recall if anybody that may have been directly next to you was injured in any way?
They were not.
So would it be fair to say that everyone in your immediate area was not struck?
Depends on how you want to define immediate, but the first 4 rows of the band, no one was struck because at that point everyone had run away.
I was referring to, I guess I wasn't clear enough on immediate. I was referring to directly next to you.
Directly next to me, no.
Thank you, Mo. I appreciate you. And
Were
I
you
agree.
able to get a license plate number of the vehicle?
I was not.
License plates. Every time.
Did you notice any tinted windows to the vehicle?
It's 11 months ago, but I believe there were in the back, but I don't want to say yes or no for sure on that.
Did you see anyone else in the vehicle?
I did not.
Could you see the back seats of the vehicle?
I did not look at the back seats.
Could you see the passenger seat of the vehicle?
I could.
Do you recall anyone being in the passenger
I
seat?
did not see anyone in the passenger seat.
His vehicle was already damaged. He could have driven through the barricades at that point. That's what doesn't make any sense. I guess he thought a barricade would stop the vehicle, maybe. Still not.
Did you initially hear any
Excuse.
sounds before you realized that something was wrong?
The band had just started playing, and so I was concentrating on listening to the sounds of the band, and then all of a sudden it was just the sound of chaos as the car came through the band.
So it would be fair to say that it was pretty loud.
Where I was at that moment, yes, because I was directly in the middle of the band.
Would you say extremely loud or moderately loud?
I would say moderately loud, and as the band director, my job was listening to the sound of the band, and so I could give the students feedback when we got back to school. So that's where
Good
my
for
focus
you.
was.
Good for her. She's got him.
From your estimation, do you think it would have the sounds from the band and
Bye, Debbie.
the people and just the parade itself, would that at any time impaired you from hearing everything that was going on?
Everything, likely, but for example, like it would have still been, it wasn't so loud I would have heard a car horn that I would have been able to hear.
I wasn't referring to that.
Okay, I was just asking because you were asking volumes, and so I couldn't have heard everything. I couldn't have heard something soft, but something that loud as an example.
Because she's got a good ear. She's a perfect witness.
So, just to be clear, from your opinion, you think you would have been able to hear a horn?
I believe I would have.
Even at the same time listening for the band notes, as you say, you have to give them feedback when you got back to school?
Because that would have been an unexpected sound, so that would have been something that would have stood out in my memory.
It would have been something that draws your attention.
Exactly.
So in your opinion, do you estimate it would have been hard to hear any screaming or anything of that nature?
We started, as soon as the screaming started, we did hear that immediately.
You're so right, Gringo.
Because as soon as the screaming started, the students stopped playing, and so that loudness.
1 second.
I'm sorry.
Do you recall how long you had been actively participating in the parade at the time of the incident?
That had been my first year back as the director of band for a while, but I marched in that parade in high school myself. So and I've attended on the years that I was not teaching, so it's probably my 40th time plus at that parade.
I think you probably misunderstood.
Okay.
Well, that was still, I don't have to ask that question. I was referring to how long you had been marching at
that time.
At that point in.
Probably, blocks all change size pretty quickly in Waukesha, but we had been going for 4 blocks. We were about at the halfway point of the parade route.
Did you notice anything amiss up until that point?
Up until that point, no.
Did you hear any law enforcement radios that may have alerted you to
No.
something being wrong?
No.
So it'd be fair to say, as far as you know, everything was pretty much standard.
Up until the moment, yes.
I watched a little bit of our new trial too. It was boring. I mean, after watching this, I mean, any trial's kind of.
You stated in your report that you were walking backwards facing the students?
No, I was walking forward because the students near me were walking backwards. So I was the eyes in front for the students who were marching backwards.
So is it possible the report could have misquoted what you said?
I have not seen the report.
The report that I have would be page 2.
You sure it's a
I
report
don't have that in front of me.
or a
Would
summary?
you like to see it?
Sure.
Hopefully, the prosecutors will check it before they put it up, and they can tell us what it really is.
So I see it's not in, there we go. So I was facing forward, and then as soon as I heard sounds, I turned around and started facing backwards at that time to see what was happening. So my direction of movement until the incident started was forward, and then once I heard unexpected sounds coming from the back of the band, then I turned around.
Do you recall the statement that's in the report, though? She stated that she was walking backwards facing the students. Do you recall that?
I do not. I guess I recall, yes, I must have. I don't recall this exact moment. I've spoken to lots of officers.
Do you recall thinking that the SUV was driving right at you?
It felt like it for a moment, yes.
That was a really stupid question.
And you stated that you initially started to chase after the vehicle, was briefly, but then stopped.
That was my instinct at the moment because I don't know why. That was my instinct at the moment.
Mr. Brooks, are you done with the
Yes,
statement?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, no problem. I'll take it down.
Would it be fair to say that the unexpectedness of the event may have clouded everything that you recall about the event?
I think there's certain aspects of the event that I have great clarity for because it was such a life-changing thing. There are certain moments that are very clear in my memory. And then there's other aspects that maybe other people noticed that maybe 11 months later that are less clear because some of the other more graphic details are so strong in my memory.
it would be fair to say though that, or would it be rather, I'm sorry about that, would it be fair to say that you don't recall everything from that
That-
November 21st
It was
evening?
that would be accurate.
To your recollection, would you have left out any details in your report?
No.
Were you able to see any license plate number on the vehicle?
I was not.
Do you recall about how far you initially had the reaction to chase after the vehicle, but then turn back to your students?
It was just a few steps.
Do you recall exactly where you were at
I was
in the parade?
in terms of the order of the parade.
In terms of what intersections you may have been at?
We were right. I was personally right outside of Martha Merrill's bookstore.
From the video footage, there were clearly a lot of spectators or people that weren't actively involved in the parade.
Yes.
Did you at any time see any of the spectators struck?
I did not.
Okay, so I only struck people that were in the parade, so that y'all should take that into consideration, jury.
After the incident, did you see any news reports about the incident?
I did.
Did any news reports that you saw jog anything to your memory?
Not especially. Maybe just showed different things that happened that evening in different parts of Main Street where I wasn't, but
So-
nothing changed my recollections of the South Band experience.
So it would be fair to say that what was reported on the news, you kind of pretty much already knew?
Correct.
Did you recall the news reporting how many people may have been hurt?
Yes.
Mark, I mean, just the question you just asked, I mean, it's, ugh. He's an idiot.
From which you recall and observed, do you think that those said news reports were accurate?
Accurate.
Grounds?
Sustained. It's not relevant.
About how long did you stay at the parade after the incident?
I did not have my watch with me that evening, but we were there for quite a while because the students had scattered, and so it took us a while, as well as waiting to make sure all the students that were injured were taken by first responders. And they were overwhelmed, so it took a while for first
So-
responders to get to
So
everyone.
it would be fair to say that by the time you actually left, it was nightfall.
That is correct.
Do you recall the power going out?
That did not happen till we were back at the high school.
So you had already left the
Correct.
parade route by the time there was no power.
Correct.
Do you recall what time you left?
I don't recall. It would be in the bus company records, but
I think so too, Namfondo. Oh gosh, crazy. Casey, girl. Yeah, that's the dark part of your job, huh? Hang on, I'm reading the police report.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Just some brief clarification, and then I'd like to show one video, Your Honor, if that's all right.
Quick, just a few mic drops, Your Honor.
There were a few mentions during cross-examination about your report in quotation marks.
Yes.
You didn't actually sit down and type up a police report after the parade, did you?
No, I did not.
Irrelevant.
Overruled. She may answer. Can you state your answer again?
I did not.
If there is an objection, let me rule
Oh, I'm
first.
sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. You met with police officers after the fact and provided interviews, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And then, do you know whether they wrote police reports summarizing those statements?
If they did, I did not see those.
Okay.
Harry.
I would like to play for you exhibit number 22 one more time. And I'd like to play it for the jury as well, Your Honor, if that's all right.
Objection, you saw this video numerous times at this point.
Are you going to play the whole thing? Or parts of it?
The witness was asked about whether she heard a horn honking, and so I'm simply going to
She was
play.
not asked if she heard a horn honking. She was asked, did the sound of the parade.
I recall what was asked. I'm sorry, tell me again why you want the jury to see this and the question? Because she was not asked specifically about a horn. She offered something.
In response to a question about what she heard. I simply want to play this video to see if the witness can hear the sound of a horn honking.
Objection. What's the relevancy at this point? She never was asked the question, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay, I don't have anything else for this witness. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
Thank you.
Poor Zach got shut down on that one. My goodness, you guys. Yeah, I think at that point, Darrell was
Next
like,
witness,
yeah, I'm ready to
please.
call it a day.
Your Honor, the state calls.
Well, that's it of that witness, you guys. Ugh. We've been on about 2 hours. And you guys are still here with me. Y'all are so, y'all, you all have a problem. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know if other people are streaming these days of when the witnesses were just, up there. Not the witnesses, but the people that were affected. I think a lot of people like to keep the humor of this trial kind of high, and I don't know. I think we need to watch the whole thing. But I think some people are doing every day of the trial, aren't they? Turner, I'm sorry, honey. You can go back and watch it on replay. Oh, goodness gracious. 1 point for Brooksy. He's back flipping. He is back flipping. Well, thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate you. I hope you all have a wonderful day. It's Thursday. We're almost to Friday. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all soon. Bye, everyone.